What's in your wallet?
What's in my wallet? Well, I'm glad you asked. So today I'll be talking about kind of what's in my wallet, my credit cards I carry as a college student, and then kind of my philosophy on credit cards, spending money, and making money overall. So first of all, what is in my wallet? I always carry my Berkeley student ID. That way, if I need to scan anything on campus, I'll be able to have it. Next, I have my driver's license. This is what I use for domestic flights, for anything that requires an official ID. And then we got the Clipper card. Berkeley lets us use the Clipper card and get on the BART for free, as well as like Caltrain and a bunch of other public transportation around the Bay. So this is very useful. And the next card I have is the Bank of America debit card. This is the very first checking account that I opened, and this is the very first card that I got. I think it's a bit risky to carry a debit card in a wallet in case it gets lost and then someone spends all the money, but it is what I use to scan into the ATM and withdraw cash or deposit money. The next card that I got is the Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards card. This card was offered to me after I had their checking account for a while. One day I received an email in my inbox, and then they talked about how this card would be a good fit or something, and I didn't know better. I just thought it was pretty cool to have a credit card, and it is a good card. I currently use this card for 3% back on online shopping. So this is the card I use to shop online unless it's on Amazon. Another category that I've used this card for is travel. So to book airline tickets, this is what I use. I don't have any expensive travel credit cards because I rarely have to travel or book airline tickets, but if I ever do, I'll just change the category for 1 month and use this card. The next card that I ever got is the Abound Credit Union Visa Platinum card. So this card I really recommend, strongly recommend. It will give you 5% on gas, unlimited cash back, and it will automatically add it to your statement credit. So every time I'm at the gas station, I just swipe this card and I don't even think about it. I know that at the end of the month, it'll deduct from my statement the cash back and then automatically pay using autopay. So this is 5% back on gas, unlimited. The next card that I have is the Wells Fargo Active Cash card. So this is the card that is like my catch-all card. It'll get me 2% back on everything. I don't use it that often because my credit cards cover most of my other categories, but it does have a really good, has a very good sign-on bonus. When you spend $500, I think it gives you $200 cash back. And I got that a really long time ago, but I still have like negative balance on this credit card because I haven't spent this $200 just because my other credit cards are able to cover basically all the categories that I use. So the next card that I ever got is the AAA Visa Signature card. This is a card that I highly recommend. It will give me 5% back on groceries with some sort of annual limit on the 5% back. But as a student who does not spend very much, I have never hit that limit, and I know I will never even come close. So for my day-to-day groceries that I buy every week, this is the card that I use. Okay, the next card that I ever got is the Citi Custom Cash card. This is the card that I use to get 5% back on restaurants. I don't eat out very much, and when I do, I use this card. The problem with this card is that it has a very low limit to the 5% cash back. I think it only gives you like $500 a month, and then after that it becomes $1 a month. But as a student, I don't spend very much money, so whenever I do eat at restaurants, this is the card that gives me 5% back. The next card that I carry is with US Bank. I don't really like US Bank. They won't approve me for any of their cards, and for the ones that they do, they give me a really low credit limit. For this one, I think it's like barely any, and they just are very stingy with what they issue. But with this card, it's the US Bank Cash Plus card. It will give you 5% back on 2 categories that you choose every quarter. So I always put this on a phone bill and utilities. So I currently pay the family phone bill with this card that gives me 5% back, and then I will pay the family utilities bill, which is also 5% back. I like the US Bank user interface, but they just will not issue any cards or give me a higher limit. Okay, the next card that I carry is another US Bank Cash Plus card. This one, I actually applied for it twice, and then this one they gave me like a secured card. So I put 300 in it, so that's my credit limit, and it is what I use for 5% back on Uber. I don't use it very often, and there's no sign-on bonus for the secured card compared to the unsecured card. But whenever I do Uber, it will give me 5% back. So the next card that I carry is the Kroger Mastercard. This is also a kind of catch-all card that I use for 5% back, and it gives you 5% back on Apple Pay or Samsung Pay or any of the mobile payment methods. It will give you 5% back. The problem with this is that it's a very low limit on the rewards. I think it's like $3,000 a year, and then after that it's just 1% back. But most of my other cards are able to cover most of the categories. So if I ever do need to Apple Pay, I'll get 5% back. And last but not least, I carry a UCLA temp card. In case I'm ever stranded and homeless in Los Angeles, I can always scan into one of their buildings and use their bathrooms. That's all the credit cards in my wallet. And also, I don't know if you noticed, but it is a Louis Vuitton wallet. If you know me at all, you know that I would never buy a wallet like this. It was actually gifted to me, and it has my initials on it. So I'm very grateful for this, and I'm very thankful for the people who gifted this to me. So now I'll talk a little bit about my philosophy on spending and credit cards. So I know some people go either the travel route or the cashback route. And I know that if you redeem points for travel perks like hotels, airline tickets, etc., it can get you a lot more value for the amount of money that you spend. But my philosophy with credit cards is that I'll never buy a product that incentivizes spending, because that's how credit cards make money, right? They charge a fee, and then sellers want to accept credit cards because it makes it more easy to purchase things. So if I'm using a credit card, I think I'm getting the rewards, but I'm actually spending more money, then the banks are kind of winning on that. So each one of these cards, they have no annual fee, and they all cover a category that I already spend in. You might notice that some of these, the limit on the 5% back is very low, but that is a problem that I have not run into as a student because I just don't spend that much money. Something else that I also try to do is to always be working towards some kind of sign-on bonus. So whatever you're spending is basically like 20 to 40% discounted. So even if something doesn't fall in that category, by hitting the spending goals, you'll be able to redeem that reward. Currently, I'm working on the US Bank Cash Plus card. It is $200 back when you spend $2,000. So that's like a free 10% back on the next $2,000 I spend. And I'm not going to try to buy more stuff just to try to hit that $200 cash back reward. I think I'll naturally be able to hit the $2,000 within that time frame. And if I ever need to spend more money to hit it, I'll just like pay one of my parents' bills or something like that, where I'm not being incentivized to spend more. It is money that I'm already going to spend. So now I'll talk a bit more about what my future goals are with credit cards. Am I applying to more? Am I trying to get more expensive credit cards, more perks? So one of my goals this semester is to travel more. So I am looking into the travel credit cards. The problem with the travel credit cards is that the first year that you get it, there's usually some sort of like 60,000, 80,000 point sign-on bonus, and that'll be worth like a lot more than the annual fee. But after that first year, when you have to renew it every year or close it, that's when it starts pressuring me to spend more money. So when I get a credit card, I want to make sure that even without the sign-on bonus, it will be worth it to me. Credit cards that I'm not going to get include like the Amex credit cards, where it'll give me like random credit for a Dunkin' Donuts, Uber, or some restaurants that I've never gone to, that I don't plan on trying. So these kind of coupon book credit cards, I will try to avoid because it incentivizes more spending. Two cards that I'm looking at are the Wells Fargo autographed Journey card. and the US Bank Altitude Connect card. So I'll start with the Wells Fargo card. The Autograph Journey card will give me 5x back on hotels as well as 4x back on travel. But the card does have a $95 annual fee. However, I think I'll be able to make back the value of the $95 annual fee because every year I'll probably travel to China with my parents to visit my grandparents and other family members. So that'll be like maybe $1,000 times 3 people. So that'll be more than enough to cover the $95 annual fee. The next card that I'm looking into getting is the US Bank Altitude Connect card. I think this one is even better than the Wells Fargo card. It will also give me 5x points on hotels as well as 4x points on travel. But the problem with this card I anticipate being is that they'll give me a really low credit limit. So if I ever need to book like a $1,000 flight, if I can't even get a $1,000 credit limit, then I can't really do anything with the card. But it is 5x points on hotels and 4x points on travel, similar to the Wells Fargo card. So that's pretty much it for my credit card setup and philosophy. I actually also have the Savor, the Capital One Savor card. I only got it because someone said it was good, and I've seen a lot of good things about it online, but I have put exactly $0 on it because it doesn't cover any of the categories I need. I heard it's good with like the Venture X where you can transfer points around, but I don't really like playing the points game because I don't really derive that much joy from playing with points and redeeming things. I just want to make sure I'm getting like a solid 3 to 5% cash back on things that I'm already spending on, just so that it reduces the amount of money that I spend without incentivizing me to spend any more money. But yeah, maybe I'll check back in maybe 6 months to a year after I've traveled more and explored more credit cards to see if it's worth it. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you were able to get something valuable out of looking at the credit card setup of a college student.